Life is not a playground, it's a battlefield. Every single day you're in a fight for your dreams, your health, your relationships, your success. And if you're not fighting for it, let me tell you something, someone or something else is taking it from you. See, life doesn't just give you what you want. It doesn't knock on your door and say, here, take this amazing career, take this unstoppable mindset, take this incredible life. No, you have to claim it, you have to step up, plant your flag and say, this is mine. But here's the problem. Most people aren't even aware they're in a fight. They think if they just wait, if they stay comfortable, somehow things will get better. But guess what? If you're not moving forward, you're losing ground. Today, we're gonna wake up that fighter inside you. Because the truth is, you were built for more. You were designed to claim your space, to dominate your territory, to create a life that excites you every single day, but it's not going to happen by accident. So I have one question for you. Are you ready to fight for what's yours? Let's go. Nothing in life is handed to you. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every moment of success, it's all fought for. The world doesn't simply offer you what you desire just because you want it. You have to demand it. You have to work for it. You have to put yourself in the position where no one can deny you. From the moment you are born, you are fighting. You fight to take your first breath. You fight to stand, to walk, to speak. As a child, you fight for attention, for understanding, for a sense of belonging. Then as you grow, the fights become more complex. You fight for opportunities, for respect, for control over your own future. And the truth is, this never stops. Every step forward in life is met with resistance. Every goal worth achieving comes with obstacles standing in the way. Look at anyone who has ever accomplished something great. And you'll see a fighter, not necessarily in the physical sense, but in their mindset, in their actions, in their refusal to back down. They didn't just sit and wait for success to come to them. They went after it. They pushed through pain. They sacrificed comfort. They faced rejection, criticism, failure, and they kept moving forward because that's what it takes. Think about your own life. Think about the moments where you wanted something, really wanted it. Did it come easy, or did you have to work for it? Did you have to push past fear, self-doubt, and challenges that tried to knock you down? Did you have to make tough choices, put in long hours, and step outside your comfort zone? That's the reality of life. Nothing of value comes without a struggle. Even the simplest things require effort. If you want to be healthy, you have to fight for it. You have to discipline yourself, control your diet, move your body, resist unhealthy habits. If you want a strong relationship, you have to fight for it. You have to invest time, energy, and emotional effort to make it work. If you want financial freedom, you have to fight for it. You have to learn, work, sacrifice, and make strategic decisions. Every day there is competition. Whether you see it or not, there is always something or someone that could take what you want if you don't claim it. There are people working harder, pushing further, and refusing to quit, which means if you're not doing the same, you're falling behind. The market doesn't care about your excuses. The world doesn't pause because you're tired. Success doesn't wait for you to be ready. You either step up and fight for what you want, or you watch as someone else takes the opportunity you let slip away. Even your own mind is a battleground. You fight against procrastination, against negative thoughts, against the voice in your head that tells you it's too hard, that you're not capable, that maybe it's not meant for you. You fight against distractions, against bad habits, against the easy path that leads nowhere. And if you don't fight, if you don't take control, you end up losing time, losing confidence, losing the life you could have had. Nothing is free, nothing is automatic. Every single thing that makes life worth living is earned, and if you're not willing to fight for it, you have to accept that it will be taken by someone who is. Your mind is where every battle begins. Before you take any action, before you make any decision, before you even attempt to step forward in life, the first fight happens inside your head. It is the battleground where your future is decided, where your potential is either unleashed or buried, where the course of your life is shaped long before you take a single step. Every thought you entertain is a soldier in this fight. Some thoughts push you forward, strengthen your resolve, fuel your ambition. Others weaken you, fill you with doubt, keep you stuck. And the problem is, most people don't even realize they are at war. They think their thoughts are just thoughts, harmless, passive, floating through their minds without consequence. But thoughts are powerful. Thoughts create beliefs, and beliefs shape reality. If your mind is filled with negativity, if it is dominated by fear, hesitation, and self-doubt, then before you even try to take action in the real world, you have already lost. The mind is constantly being attacked. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with distractions, fears, anxieties, limitations imposed by society, by your past, by your environment. Every voice that ever told you that you weren't good enough, smart enough, strong enough, worthy enough, they all echo in your mind, and if you are not vigilant, they become your truth. You carry those words like chains, dragging them with you, letting them dictate what you can and cannot do, what you should and should not attempt. But here's what most people don't understand. Those thoughts are not fact. They are not reality. They are only the echoes of past experiences, the remnants of conditioning, the product of a mind that has been shaped by fear rather than possibility. And the only way to break free from that is to fight, to challenge every limiting belief, to question every self-doubt, to push back against the inner resistance that tries to keep you small. Your own mind is the most persuasive liar you will ever face. It will tell you that you are not ready, that now is not the right time, that you need more experience, more knowledge, more validation before you can take action. It will convince you that failure is too painful, that the unknown is too risky, that staying where you are is safer. But the truth is, your mind is not trying to protect you. It is trying to keep you comfortable, and comfort is the enemy of growth. Look at any great achievement in history, any person who has risen above their circumstances, any individual who has shattered expectations, and you will see one common pattern. They won the war in their mind before they won in the world. They refused to let fear dictate their actions. They silenced the voice that told them they couldn't. They rewired their thinking, turned obstacles into challenges, turned doubts into fuel, turned failures into lessons. Every excuse, every hesitation, every reason you tell yourself that you can't, won't, or shouldn't, that is the enemy. And that enemy lives in your mind. It knows every weakness, every insecurity, every past failure you still hold on to. It knows exactly what to whisper to keep you in place, to make you hesitate, to stop you from taking action. And it will keep whispering, keep pushing, keep convincing, unless you fight back. Winning this battle is not about motivation. It's not about just feeling good for a moment and then slipping back into old patterns. It is about discipline, about training your mind like a warrior trains for combat. It is about being aware of the thoughts that arise and choosing which ones to listen to and which ones to reject. It is about developing the mental toughness to move forward even when fear tells you to stop, to take action even when self-doubt tries to paralyze you, to keep pushing even when the path is uncertain. Most people never win this fight because they don't even realize they are fighting. They accept the first negative thought that enters their mind as truth. They let past failures define their future. They let fear control their decisions. But the few who recognize this battle, the few who take control of their own minds, the few who train themselves to think differently, they are the ones who break through barriers, who create success where others see obstacles, who refuse to be held back by invisible chains. This battle never ends. Every new challenge, every new goal, every new level in life brings a new wave of inner resistance. The fight doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. The thoughts of doubt, fear, and hesitation will always be there, but over time you learn to overpower them. You learn to rewire your mind to work for you, not against you. You learn to take command of the battlefield, to sharpen your focus, to build the kind of mental resilience that nothing can shake. Every success, every breakthrough, every moment of transformation, it all starts in your mind. And if you are not in control of this battlefield, if you are not actively fighting to take command of your own thoughts, then you are losing ground without even realizing it. Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't announce itself like a great disaster, doesn't shake your world like failure does, doesn't challenge you like struggle does. Instead, it lulls you into a false sense of security, making you believe that staying where you are is good enough. It whispers in your ear, telling you to relax, to take it easy, to not push too hard. And before you know it, you've settled. You've stopped reaching. You've stopped growing. Complacency is the slow erosion of ambition. It happens in small, almost imperceptible steps. One skipped workout, one postponed goal, one excuse at a time. You tell yourself you'll get to it tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year. And soon the fire that once burned inside you dims, replaced by the comfortable routine of mediocrity. What once excited you now feels like too much effort. What once drove you forward now seems unnecessary. And all the while, you convince yourself that you're fine, that you don't need more, that this is just how life is. The greatest enemy you will ever face is not failure, not rejection, not even fear. It is the quiet acceptance of where you are. It is the belief that this is enough, that I don't need to try harder, that I can always do it later. Because the moment you start thinking that way, you stop fighting, you stop chasing, you stop becoming. And life doesn't stay still. If you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. Comfort makes you believe that the struggle is over, that you've done enough, that you've earned the right to slow down. But success is never a permanent state. It is rented, and the rent is due every single day. The moment you stop paying that rent, you begin to lose what you've built. The body you work so hard for starts to weaken. The skills you sharpen begin to dull. The mindset you forge starts to soften. And before you know it, you're back to square one, wondering how you let it slip away. Complacency disguises itself as happiness. It makes you think you're content, that you're satisfied with what you have. But deep down, there's a voice inside you that knows the truth, that knows you are capable of more, that knows you were meant for more, that knows you are playing small. But instead of listening to that voice, you drown it out with distractions. You tell yourself that you're fine, that you're comfortable, that you don't need to push any harder. And so you settle, not because you lack ability, but because you let comfort convince you that growth is unnecessary. The mind is wired for survival, not success. It seeks safety, routine, predictability. It wants to avoid struggle, avoid risk, avoid discomfort. But success demands the opposite. It demands that you embrace discomfort, that you step into uncertainty, that you push yourself beyond what feels easy. Because the truth is, the life you want exists outside of your comfort zone. It exists in the effort, in the discipline, in the moments when you want to stop but push forward anyway. Every great achievement was built by someone who refused to stay comfortable. The athlete who pushes through pain to train harder. The entrepreneur who risks everything to chase a vision. The artist who works relentlessly to master their craft. None of them achieved greatness by staying where it was safe. They understood that the only way to grow is to step into the unknown, to lean into the struggle, to reject the urge to settle. But complacency is seductive. It gives you just enough to make you feel like you don't need to try harder. It rewards you with temporary ease while stealing long-term success. Second, once you give into it, once you allow yourself to stay in that place of comfort for too long, breaking free becomes even harder. Your standards drop, your drive weakens, you start settling for good enough instead of reaching for what's truly possible. The most dangerous part of comfort is that it doesn't feel like an enemy. It feels nice. It feels reassuring. It feels like a reward. And that's why it's so powerful, because while you're enjoying the illusion of security, your edge is fading, your hunger is dying, your potential is slipping away. And by the time you realize what's happened, you've lost precious time, time you can never get back. Complacency is the reason so many people never reach their true potential, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they allowed themselves to get comfortable too soon, because they convinced themselves that they had already done enough, because they let go of the discipline, the urgency, the hunger that once drove them. And once that hunger is gone, reigniting it is one of the hardest things to do. The only way to defeat this enemy is to stay in motion, to constantly challenge yourself, to never allow yourself to believe that you have arrived. Because the moment you think you've made it, you start losing what you worked so hard to build. The fight never ends, the work never stops, and the moment you stop pushing, you start falling. Fear is the invisible wall standing between you and everything you desire. It is the gatekeeper of your next level, the final test before you reach your breakthrough. Every time you set your sights on something bigger, whether it's a new opportunity, a new challenge, or a new version of yourself, fear is the first thing that rises to meet you. It doesn't come as an outright enemy, but as a whisper, a hesitation, a small voice inside your head asking, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if you lose everything? And this is where most people stop. Not because they aren't capable, not because they don't have the potential, but because they let fear make the decision for them. They stand at the edge of growth, staring at the opportunity in front of them, and instead of taking that step forward, they retreat. They tell themselves it's not the right time. They convince themselves they need more preparation. They justify their hesitation with logic, when deep down it's fear pulling the strings. Fear disguises itself as caution, as responsibility, as practicality. It convinces you that playing it safe is the smart choice. But the truth is, fear is not there to protect you. It is there to test you, to see if you are truly ready for what you say you want, to see if you have the courage to step into the unknown, because nothing worth having comes without stepping through fear first. Think about every major transformation in your life. Every time you grew, every time you evolved, every time you achieved something meaningful, what was the common factor? Fear was always there. Before you started that business, before you stepped onto that stage, before you made that big decision, fear showed up trying to keep you in place, trying to hold you back, trying to convince you to stay where it's safe. And if you had listened, if you had given in, you would have missed out on the growth, on the success, on the experience that changed your life. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are on the verge of something great. It is proof that you are stepping into new territory, that you are about to expand, that you are reaching beyond your current limits. And that is why fear always appears right before the breakthrough, because the mind resists change. The brain is wired to protect you, to keep you comfortable, to keep you alive. But survival is not the goal. Living fully, reaching your potential, becoming everything you were meant to be, that is the goal. Most people live their entire lives controlled by fear. They make decisions not based on what they want, but based on what they are afraid will happen. They avoid risks. They avoid discomfort. They avoid uncertainty because they don't want to feel the weight of fear pressing down on them. But here's the truth. Avoiding fear does not eliminate it. It only makes it stronger. Every time you back down, every time you let fear win, you reinforce its power over you. You teach your mind that fear is the master and you are the servant. And the more you do that, the more difficult it becomes to ever break free. But on the other side of fear is freedom. When you stop letting fear dictate your actions, you realize that most of the things you were afraid of were illusions. The failure you feared didn't destroy you. The rejection you feared didn't break you. The challenge you feared didn't defeat you. And once you understand that fear is just a test, just a threshold you must cross, you stop letting it control you. Fear is the gatekeeper of your next level because it forces you to decide, will you shrink back or will you rise? Will you stay in the life you have or will you claim the life you want? Will you let fear define your limits? Or will you push past them and create a new reality? Every time you face fear and choose to move forward anyway, you take back your power. You reclaim control over your life. You strengthen your courage, your resilience, your belief in yourself. And once you break through one fear, you realize you can break through them all. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. They are all just illusions, just barriers designed to test your commitment. Because the universe does not give rewards to those who hesitate. It does not hand success to those who wait for fear to disappear. It gives greatness to those who step forward despite the fear, to those who feel the fear and move anyway, to those who refuse to be held hostage by doubt and uncertainty. Everything you want, every dream, every goal, every breakthrough is waiting for you on the other side of fear. And the only way to get there is to walk through it, to face it head on, to refuse to let it stop you. Fear will always be there, but it is not your enemy. It is your test, your challenge, your doorway to the next level. And the question is, will you step through it, or will you let it keep you exactly where you are? Every dream has a price. No matter how big or small, no matter how ambitious or simple, if it's worth having, it comes at a cost. The universe does not give away greatness for free. It demands something in return. It demands sacrifice. It demands discipline. It demands perseverance. And the bigger the dream, the higher the price. Most people never realize this. They see success, they see achievement, they see someone living the life they want, and they think they got lucky. They had connections. They were born into the right circumstances. But what they don't see is the price that was paid. The sleepless nights, the early mornings, the failures, the rejections, the sacrifices that no one talks about. They see the result, but they don't see the struggle that created it. There is a price for everything in life. A price for wealth, a price for mastery, a price for success, a price for greatness. And the question is never, can I have it, but am I willing to pay for it? Because make no mistake, you will pay. Either you pay the price of discipline now, or you pay the price of regret later. Either you put in the work, or you live with the pain of knowing you could have been more. Either you embrace the struggle, or you accept a life that is less than what you were capable of. The problem is most people want the reward without the sacrifice. They want the six-figure business without the years of grinding. They want the strong, fit body without the hours in the gym. They want the recognition, the influence, the impact. But they don't want to go through the struggle that builds it. They want the life, but they don't want the process. And that is why so few people ever reach their full potential, because when they see the price, they hesitate. They back away. They look for a shortcut. But there are no shortcuts, no hacks, no easy way out. Every dream comes with a cost, and if you are not willing to pay it, you don't get to have it. That is the law of life. You don't get extraordinary results with ordinary effort. You don't get something for nothing. And every time you set a goal, every time you say you want more, life is going to ask you, how bad do you really want it? Are you willing to put in the work when no one is watching? Are you willing to keep going when you don't feel like it? Are you willing to sacrifice comfort, distraction, and ease for something greater? Because the price is not just about hard work. It's about everything that comes with it. It's about sacrificing time. It's about missing out on things others get to enjoy. It's about being misunderstood, being doubted, being criticized. It's about dealing with failure, setbacks, and moments where everything in you wants to quit. It's about standing alone when no one believes in you, about keeping the vision alive when the results aren't showing yet. It's about taking hit after hit and still standing back up. Most people are not willing to do that. They want to succeed as long as it's convenient, as long as it's comfortable, as long as they don't have to endure too much pain. But the moment it gets hard, the moment they face resistance, the moment they realize how much work it actually takes, they start to backpedal. They make excuses. They tell themselves they don't really want it that bad. They settle for less, not because they aren't capable, but because they aren't willing to pay the price. Every successful person you admire, every athlete, every entrepreneur, every artist, every leader, they all paid their price. They put in the hours when no one was watching. They kept going when everything seemed to be falling apart. They sacrificed comfort, stability, even relationships, because they understood that the dream demands payment. They didn't get lucky. They didn't just stumble into success. They earned it, one sacrifice at a time. And the truth is, the higher you climb, the greater the price. The more impact you want to make, the more discipline it requires. The bigger the vision, the bigger the obstacles. And that is why so many people stop halfway, because they were willing to pay the price at the beginning, but when the cost increased, they hesitated. They started questioning if it was worth it. They started looking for an easier path. And the moment you do that, the moment you start negotiating with your dream, you start losing ground. But here's the reality. You are always paying a price. Whether you realize it or not, if you choose not to chase your dream, if you choose to stay comfortable, if you choose to settle, that comes at a cost too. The cost of a life that never reaches its full potential. The cost of waking up every day knowing you could have been more. The cost of regret, of looking back years from now and realizing you played it safe instead of stepping into the fire. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. One day you will either look back with pride knowing you paid the price, or you will look back with regret wishing you had. And by then, the time will be gone. The opportunity will have passed. The door will have closed. So if you have a dream, if you have a vision for something greater, don't ask yourself if it's possible. Ask yourself if you are willing to do what it takes, because life is not going to hand it to you. It is not going to make it easy. It is going to test you, break you, push you to your limits, and see if you have what it takes to keep going. And if you do, if you refuse to quit, if you keep pushing forward no matter how high the price gets, then eventually, after all the sacrifice, after all the struggle, after all the years of paying the cost, you will stand on the other side and realize that every ounce of effort, every drop of sweat, every moment of pain was worth it. Excuses are landmines scattered across the battlefield of your life. They sit there waiting, hidden just beneath the surface of your thoughts, ready to detonate the moment you step too close to your potential. And the worst part, you don't even realize they're there. You think they're justifications, rational reasons, logical explanations, but in reality, they are silent assassins, stealing your progress, your momentum, your future. Excuses come in many forms. I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. I'm too tired. I'm not ready yet. Each one sounds reasonable. Each one gives you permission to stay exactly where you are. Each one allows you to take the easy way out without feeling guilty about it. And that is why they are so dangerous. Because they don't feel like limitations, they feel like truth. They feel like reality, but they are nothing more than carefully crafted lies designed to keep you stuck. Excuses are a form of self-sabotage. You set a goal, you make a commitment, you start moving forward, and then an excuse appears. And the moment you step on it, boom! You stop, you hesitate, you start questioning yourself. And just like that, all your momentum is gone. You were making progress, you were pushing forward, but now you're standing still, trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and hesitation. And here's the brutal truth. Excuses don't care about your dreams. They don't care about your potential. They don't care about the life you say you want. They only exist to keep you small, to keep you comfortable, to keep you in the same place, repeating the same patterns, living the same life year after year. Because every time you give in to an excuse, you reinforce the habit of quitting. You strengthen the voice in your head that says, it's okay to stop. It's okay to wait. It's okay to try later. But later never comes. Tomorrow turns into next week turns into next month turns into next year, and before you know it, a decade has passed, and you're still standing in the same spot, wondering why nothing has changed. Excuses are the enemy of discipline. They show up when things get hard, when the excitement wears off, when the real work begins, because that's when most people quit. Not at the start when motivation is high, not at the end when victory is in sight, but in the middle when the struggle is real, when the grind is exhausting, when doubt creeps in. That's when excuses show up the strongest, whispering in your ear, you don't have to do this today. One break won't hurt. Just rest, just relax. You can start fresh tomorrow, but tomorrow is the greatest lie ever told. Tomorrow is the graveyard where potential goes to die. Tomorrow is the land where excuses thrive. And make no mistake, excuses don't just slow you down. They destroy you. They rob you of opportunities. They steal your confidence. They turn you into a person who hesitates instead of acts, who dreams instead of does, who talks instead of executes. Because every excuse you make is a choice to stay the same, a choice to remain in the comfort zone, a choice to give up control over your own life. Excuses don't care how badly you want something. They don't care how much potential you have. They don't care about your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. They only care about stopping you. They only care about keeping you from stepping into the version of yourself that you were meant to be. They are the landmines that will blow up every opportunity before you even take the first step. And the worst part, you set them yourself. You place them in your own path. Every time you say, I don't have time, you are placing a landmine on your own journey. Every time you say, I'm not ready yet, you are building a wall between yourself and your goals. Every time you say it's too hard, you are programming your mind to stop trying. And once you start making excuses, it becomes a habit. You start finding reasons to avoid everything that challenges you. You justify mediocrity. You defend inaction. You convince yourself that staying where you are is the smart choice. And before you know it, you have built an entire life around limitations that never actually existed. But here's the truth. Excuses are lies. Every single one of them. There is always a way. There is always a path forward. There is always a way to make it happen. The only question is whether you are willing to look for it, whether you are willing to push past the resistance, whether you are willing to reject the easy way out and take full ownership of your life. Because the people who succeed, the people who achieve their goals, the people who build extraordinary lives, they don't have fewer obstacles. They don't have fewer challenges. They don't have more time, more resources, or more opportunities. What they have is a refusal to make excuses, a refusal to accept limitations, a refusal to let anything stand between them and what they want. They see the landmines, and instead of stepping on them, they dismantle them. They call out their own excuses. They challenge them. They refuse to let them dictate their actions. They take full responsibility for their progress, for their results, for their future, because they understand that if they don't, no one else will. No one is coming to save them. No one is going to remove the obstacles for them. It is on them to do the work, to push forward, to stop justifying failure and start demanding success. And that is the difference between winners and everyone else. Not talent, not luck, not circumstances, just a simple decision, excuses or results, because you can't have both. You either make progress or you make excuses. You either move forward or you stay stuck. You either take full control of your destiny or you let your excuses dictate your life. And every day you make that choice. Every action, every decision, every moment, you are either stepping toward your dreams or stepping on a landmine that keeps you where you are. And if you keep stepping on excuses long enough, eventually you run out of time. Eventually, you look back and realize that the only thing standing between you and everything you wanted wasn't the world, wasn't your circumstances, wasn't bad luck. It was you. It was the excuses you made, the justifications you believed, the opportunities you walked away from because you weren't willing to do whatever it took. Your surroundings shape the fighter, They mold you, define you, and determine whether you rise or fall. No warrior stands alone. No champion grows in isolation. Every fighter is a product of their environment, whether they choose it or not. And if you are not intentional about your surroundings, they will shape you by default. They will either forge you into something stronger or weaken you into something lesser. Look at your life. Look at the people you spend the most time with. Look at the conversations you have, the energy that surrounds you, the mindset that dominates your environment. That is your training ground. That is where you are either sharpening your weapons or dulling them. Because every single day, your surroundings are influencing you. They are either feeding your fire or extinguishing it. They are either pushing you forward or pulling you back. A fighter cannot train in a place of weakness. A fighter cannot grow in an environment that suffocates ambition. If you are surrounded by negativity, by doubt, by mediocrity, that will become your norm. It will seep into your mind like poison. It will dull your hunger, weaken your discipline, and convince you that playing small is acceptable. Because energy is contagious. Mindset is contagious. And whether you realize it or not, you are absorbing the beliefs, the habits, and the expectations of the people around you. If you are in a room where no one is striving for greatness, you will feel foolish for wanting more. If you're in a room where no one is disciplined, your excuses will seem reasonable. If you are in a room where no one is willing to sacrifice, you will start questioning why you should. And just like that, your surroundings have won. They have shaped you into something smaller than you were meant to be. But the opposite is also true. If you surround yourself with warriors, you will become a warrior. If you surround yourself with winners, you will start thinking like a winner. If you put yourself in an environment where excellence is the standard, you will rise to meet it. Because when you are surrounded by people who are driven, disciplined, and relentless, they will not allow you to stay the same. They will challenge you. They will demand more from you. They will push you beyond your comfort zone, not because they want to break you, but because they refuse to let you settle. Your environment is shaping your identity every single day. It is teaching you what is possible, what is acceptable, what is normal. And if you do not choose it intentionally, you will become a product of whatever is around you. That is why most people never reach their full potential, because they stay in places that do not challenge them. They keep relationships that do not inspire them. They allow themselves to be surrounded by small thinking, by comfort, by people who make them feel good instead of people who make them better. A fighter does not train in weakness. A fighter does not grow in softness. A fighter does not thrive in an environment that coddles mediocrity. A fighter needs pressure, resistance, adversity. A fighter needs to be in a place that demands strength, that forces growth, that refuses to tolerate excuses. Because steel is forged in fire, not in comfort. Strength is built through struggle, not through ease. And if your environment does not challenge you, it is weakening you. Look at the greatest warriors, the most elite athletes, the most powerful leaders. None of them got to where they are by accident. They put themselves in the right places. They surrounded themselves with the right people. They trained in the hardest conditions. They sought out environments that forced them to level up, because they understood that the battle is won long before they step onto the battlefield. The real fight happens in the training, in the preparation, in the daily discipline of living in an environment that shapes them into something unbreakable. And that is the question you must ask yourself. Is your environment making you stronger or weaker? Are the people around you lifting you up or dragging you down? Are your surroundings pushing you to grow or allowing you to stay comfortable? Because you cannot become a champion in a place that breeds complacency. You cannot develop discipline in a place that tolerates laziness. You cannot become unstoppable if you are surrounded by people who quit when things get hard. If you want to be a fighter, you must train like one. You must build an environment that reinforces your strength, your focus, your hunger. You must remove anything and anyone that weakens your mindset, that dulls your ambition, that makes it easy to settle. You must surround yourself with warriors, people who push, who challenge, who demand more from you. Because in the end, your surroundings will shape you, whether you like it or not. And if you do not take control of that, the battle is already lost. Pain is the proof of progress. It is the undeniable signal that you are moving forward, pushing boundaries, breaking through limits. It is the price of transformation, the currency of growth, the toll you must pay to reach the next level. There is no evolution without discomfort. There is no strength without struggle. There is no breakthrough without resistance. Look at any warrior, any champion, any leader. None of them got to where they are by avoiding pain. None of them became great by staying comfortable. They earned their power, their resilience, their unshakable confidence through pain, through failure, through moments that pushed them to the edge and dared them to quit. But instead of backing down, they leaned into the fire. They embraced the suffering. They understood that the pain wasn't there to break them, it was there to build them. Pain is the process of becoming. When you push your body past its limits in training, the muscles tear before they rebuild stronger. When you expand your mind with new knowledge, the confusion comes before the clarity. When you chase a dream, the failures come before the success. Pain is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is happening, that change is taking place, that progress is being made. The problem is most people misunderstand pain. They fear it, they avoid it. They see it as a reason to stop rather than a reason to keep going. They feel resistance and assume they are on the wrong path. They encounter struggle and convince themselves that they aren't ready, that they aren't good enough, that it isn't meant for them. But the truth is, pain is the greatest mentor you will ever have. It is the ultimate test of how badly you want something. It will separate those who are interested from those who are committed. Because the ones who are merely interested will run from pain. The ones who are committed will endure it, embrace it, and use it as fuel. Every breakthrough in your life will be preceded by pain. Every victory will be preceded by a struggle. Every time you level up, you will feel the weight of resistance trying to hold you back. And that is the moment of decision. That is where most people give up, turn around, and convince themselves that the fight isn't worth it. That is where excuses start creeping in. That is where the weak are separated from the strong. Because in that moment, when everything in you is screaming to stop, when the weight feels unbearable, when the obstacles feel impossible, that is the moment where champions are made. Pain is a rite of passage. It is the toll gate that stands between where you are and where you want to be. It is the fire that burns away weakness, that exposes who you really are when things aren't easy. Anyone can be motivated when things are going well. Anyone can be disciplined when the path is clear, but the real test is in the moments of pain, in the moments of exhaustion, in the moments when quitting seems like the only logical option. Pain will teach you what you're made of. It will expose your weaknesses. It will test your patience, your discipline, your resilience. And most people see this as a reason to stop. They feel discomfort and look for a way out. They seek distractions, quick fixes, easy solutions. But the ones who rise, the ones who become unstoppable, they look at pain differently. They recognize it as a sign of progress. They see it as proof that they are growing, and instead of running from it, they lean into it. They stay in the fire longer than anyone else. They let the pain mold them, shape them, forge them into something unbreakable. Because pain is temporary, but the results it produces are permanent. The suffering will pass, but the strength it leaves behind will remain. The discomfort will fade, but the transformation it creates will last forever. The pain of discipline will eventually become the pride of achievements, but only if you are willing to endure it. Only if you are willing to embrace it instead of fearing it. Only if you refuse to quit when it gets hard. And make no mistake, it will get hard. The path to success is not a smooth road. It is filled with obstacles, setbacks, frustrations. It will test you in ways you never expected. It will make you question everything. It will push you past what you thought were your limits. And that is exactly why most people never reach the top, because they hit that wall, they feel that pain, and they assume it means they should stop. But if you want to win, if you want to reach your full potential, you must rewire your relationship with pain. You must stop seeing it as an enemy and start seeing it as an ally. You must stop avoiding it and start embracing it. Because every time you push through, every time you refuse to quit, every time you endure the pain instead of running from it, you are strengthening something inside you that cannot be broken. You are proving to yourself that you are unstoppable. Pain is the admission fee for greatness. It is the initiation for those who are serious about their dreams. It is the filter that separates the ones who say they want it from the ones who actually do. And the reality is, most people are not willing to pay that price. Most people choose comfort over growth. Most people would rather stay in a predictable, mediocre life than endure the pain required to build something extraordinary. But if you are different, if you are someone who refuses to settle, who is willing to do what others won't, who understands that nothing worth having comes without sacrifice, then you will welcome the pain. You will see it as proof that you are on the right path. You will let it shape you, refine you, harden you into someone who cannot be broken. And in the end, when the struggle is over, when the pain has done its work, you will stand on the other side, stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. Your opponent is not a person, it's a pattern. It's not the boss who doubted you, not the competition standing in your way, not the critic who said you couldn't do it. It's the pattern of thinking that keeps you stuck, the habits that sabotage your progress, the mindset that convinces you to hesitate when you should attack. The real battle isn't against an enemy you can see, it's against the invisible forces that have controlled your life for years. Patterns are powerful. They run your life more than you realize. Every action you take, every decision you make, every result you get, it all comes from patterns you've reinforced over time. And if you don't take control of them, they will control you. Because patterns don't care about your dreams. They don't care about your potential. They don't care how badly you want to change. They only care about repeating themselves. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal, started strong, and then fallen back into old habits? How many times have you said you were going to do something only to find yourself in the exact same place months later. It's not because you aren't capable. It's not because you aren't smart enough, strong enough, or disciplined enough. It's because the pattern is stronger than your desire in that moment. Because patterns don't break on their own. They don't just disappear because you decided you want something new. They fight back, they resist, they pull you back into familiar territory the moment you try to break free. That's why change is so hard. Because you aren't just fighting for a new result. You're fighting against a system that has been running in your mind, in your body, in your daily routine for years. Your opponent is not a person. It's the pattern that makes you procrastinate, the pattern that makes you start and stop, the pattern that makes you doubt yourself, hesitate, wait for the perfect moment that never comes. The pattern that keeps you distracted, overwhelmed, jumping from one thing to the next without ever following through. That is the real enemy. And if you don't defeat that, it doesn't matter what strategies you use, what opportunities come your way, what knowledge you gain, you will always end up back where you started. Because patterns have momentum. The longer you've been in one, the harder it is to break. If you've been making excuses for years, your brain is wired to look for an excuse the moment things get tough. If you've been quitting when things get hard, the moment you hit resistance, your body will automatically shift into retreat mode. If you've been doubting yourself for years, the moment you step into something bigger, your mind will flood with reasons why you aren't ready, why you aren't good enough, why you should turn back. And most people don't realize this. They think their struggles are about willpower, about motivation, about needing more inspiration. But it's deeper than that. It's about reprogramming the patterns that have been running your life for years. It's about recognizing that the real battle is not outside of you, it's inside. It's happening in the way you think, the way you react, the way you've been conditioned to respond to challenges. And the only way to win is to break the pattern before the pattern breaks you. You have to rewire the way you operate at a fundamental level. You have to override the automatic responses that have kept you stuck. You have to disrupt the loop that keeps pulling you back. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intentional, consistent, disciplined action. Because here's the truth. Your opponent is predictable. Your pattern follows the same script every time. It knows exactly how to stop you because it's done it before. It knows how to make you hesitate, how to make you doubt, how to make you delay. It knows exactly what buttons to push to get you to fall back into old habits. And if you don't see it, if you don't recognize it for what it is, you will keep repeating the same cycles over and over, wondering why nothing ever changes. But the moment you become aware of it, the moment you see the pattern for what it is, everything shifts. Because now you are no longer fighting in the dark. Now you know the real enemy. Now you can anticipate the resistance before it comes. Now you can see the excuses forming before they take hold. And instead of falling into the same trap, you can break the cycle. Breaking a pattern is war. It's not easy, it's not comfortable. It's not something you do once and never have to deal with again. It's a battle you must fight every single day. Because the pattern will not go quietly. It will test you, it will challenge you, it will try to pull you back the moment you let your guard down. But if you stay aware, if you stay disciplined, if you refuse to fall into the same old habits, eventually the pattern weakens. The old way of thinking loses its power. The cycle begins to break. And when that happens, you become unstoppable. Because now you aren't fighting ghosts. Now you aren't blaming circumstances, blaming people, blaming bad luck. Now you know exactly what's been holding you back and you have the power to change it. Now you can create new patterns, patterns of discipline, patterns of execution, patterns of resilience, patterns that don't pull you back, but push you forward. Because at the end of the day, success is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's not about waiting for the right opportunity. It's about mastering your patterns. It's about controlling the way you think, the way you act, the way you respond to the challenges life throws at you. And the moment you take control of that, you take control of everything. Take the territory or lose it. That is the reality of life. Nothing stays unclaimed. Nothing remains untouched. Every inch of progress you fail to take will be taken by something or someone else. There is no such thing as standing still. You are either advancing or retreating, growing or shrinking, dominating or being dominated. If you do not take control of your life, your goals, your mindset, something else will. Life is a battleground of territory, mental, emotional, financial, and physical. Every great success, every moment of triumph, every ounce of progress requires the same thing, claiming the space that belongs to you. Because here's the truth. Everything you want is already occupied. Every goal you dream of achieving already has resistance built into it. Every level you aspire to reach is already being fought over. And if you are not willing to take it, to fight for it, to hold it, then you will lose it to someone or something that is. Think about it. Your confidence is territory. If you don't own it, doubt will. Your time is territory. If you don't take control of it, distractions will. Your opportunities are territory. If you don't seize them, someone else will. Your energy, your focus, your discipline, these are all pieces of land in your life. And if you are not intentional about owning them, something else will stake a claim. And this is where most people lose before they even begin. They believe that territory will wait for them, that opportunities will remain open indefinitely, that time will always be there to come back to later. But life does not work that way. Territory is taken by those who move first, by those who show up every day ready to claim what is theirs, by those who refuse to hesitate while others are waiting for the perfect moment. Because there is no neutral ground in life. Every dream, every vision, every piece of success is either expanding or shrinking. The moment you stop pushing forward, you are moving backward. The moment you let up, something else, fear, procrastination, complacency, steps in to fill the space. The moment you hesitate, someone else with more hunger, more discipline, more urgency will take what you left unguarded. Look at history, at business, at sports, at war. Territory belongs to those who take it, not to those who wait. The marketplace does not reward hesitation. The battlefield does not favor those who are passive. The ones who win are the ones who take bold, decisive action. The ones who refuse to be spectators. The ones who understand that if they don't claim their ground, someone else will. And this applies to every area of your life. In relationships, if you don't take ownership of how you communicate, how you show up, how you contribute, the relationship will weaken. In your career, if you don't take ownership of your growth, your skills, your leadership, someone else will surpass you. In your health, if you don't take ownership of your body, your habits, your discipline, weakness and disease will take over. You cannot afford to be passive. You cannot afford to sit back and hope things work out. You cannot afford to wait for the perfect moment, the right conditions, the green light that will never come. Because every second you delay, the territory is being lost. And once it's gone, it is 10 times harder to reclaim. Look at your life right now. Where have you given up territory? Where have you let fear, doubt, or distraction creep in? Where have you hesitated when you should have acted? Because this is the truth. What you don't take control of, you lose. And what you lose, someone or something else takes. It could be your mindset. If you don't fill it with confidence, with certainty, with power, negativity will take hold. It could be your discipline. If you don't take ownership of your habits, laziness and inconsistency will dominate. It could be your finances. If you don't control your spending, your investments, your ability to create wealth, debt and scarcity will claim that space. You must decide to be the one who takes the territory, not the one who watches, not the one who hesitates, not the one who waits for permission, but the one who moves, the one who fights, the one who refuses to let anyone or anything take what belongs to them. Because life does not give you what you wish for, it gives you what you claim. And claiming territory is not a one-time event, it is a daily battle. Every morning you wake up with a choice. Will you take control or will you surrender control? Will you move forward or will you allow something else to dictate your direction? Because make no mistake, territory is never permanently yours. It must be maintained, defended, expanded. The moment you get comfortable, the moment you assume it will always be there, the moment you relax, the process of losing it begins. This is why the greats never stop pushing, why the most successful people in the world never settle, because they understand that the fight never ends. That every day brings new challenges, new competitors, new distractions trying to take what they've built. And the second they stop advancing, the erosion begins. So ask yourself, what are you fighting for? What is the territory you refuse to lose? What is the thing that you will not allow to be taken from you? And then act like it, think like it, move like it. Because the world does not wait for those who hesitate, it rewards those who step up, who claim their space, who take the ground that others were too afraid to fight for. Because in life, there are only two choices. Take the territory or lose it. And only one of those choices leads to victory. Life does not hand out victories. It does not reward hesitation. It does not wait for you to feel ready. Every inch of progress must be fought for. Every dream must be claimed, and every piece of ground you do not defend will be taken by something else. Fear, doubt, complacency, or by someone who wants it more than you do. This is the reality of life. The battlefield never clears. The fight never stops. And the moment you stop pushing forward, you begin losing ground. You must decide who you are in this fight. Are you the one who waits, who hesitates, who lets opportunities slip through your fingers? Or are you the one who moves, who acts, who refuses to surrender even an inch of what belongs to you? Your dreams, your confidence, your discipline, your success. These are all territories that must be won and defended daily. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to fight this battle for you. You either take what's yours or you watch it slip away. You either own your life or life will own you. You must step up. You must claim your space. You must refuse to let anything or anyone dictate your limits. Because in the end, there are only two types of people: those who fight for their territory and those who lose it. Which one will you be?